On one hand, this is kind of cool to see. On the other hand, seeing some of the damage control and some of the excuses really kind of annoys me and pisses me off. So I really do think that this is going to be a very kind of topic that people get pissed off about. And again, I also want to point out that I understand that I'm not exactly the most liked person on YouTube, or the person that I guess for whatever reason, you're not allowed to have a different opinion than other people, without being completely asinine or complete idiot or whatever. But for me personally, I just really think that this is something that I have to talk about. And the main reason I have to talk about it isn't because there's a narrative. The whole idea behind Xbox has no games isn't that they have no games. Like, I don't understand the people that swear up and down that that's the thing. It's like when people say Xbox has no games, they don't mean Xbox has literally no games. They mean no AAA exclusives. And that is true. And it's like, having a flight sim that's not a game come out doesn't fix that. Having a PC only game out like Age of Empires doesn't fix that. Having a multi-plat that's on PlayStation like Psychonauts 2 doesn't fix that. Yes, Forza Horizon 5 helps that. Yes, Halo fixes that. But, that's 2 games in, a year and a half on the market. And then another 2 if Redfall and Starfield make it next year. The main thing that I want to talk about is, again, how many times is Phil going to get away with lying, right? And I know people just think that I hate on the guy for no reason or whatever, but I did a video about this the other day where I brought up the fact that Phil mentioned years ago that he wasn't going to announce games with trailers if the games were 2 to 3 years out. Now, we saw some information on Hellblade 2, and they also said that the game's not even in full production yet. Like, I don't understand how that can be. How is that even possible that this game is not in full production yet? This game was announced in 2019. This game actually started in production in, 2018 or whatever? Like, listen, I was told when Bleeding Edge came out that it wasn't affecting something like Hellblade 2 because it was a B team, it was this, it was that. But again, you wouldn't expect Dealer Gaming or any of those people to really know what the hell they're talking about to begin with. So Hellblade 2 looks like it's probably a 2023, maybe even 2024 title at this point. Like, I do not understand this. How the world can Sony Santa Monica Studios, and I realize that they're probably a bigger studio, but how can they get a God of War out in 2018, and it looks like they're going to get the sequel out in 2022. 4 years' time, and then you have Hellblade 2 that could possibly be taking 5 years or longer. And people still don't think that there's some kind of problem with leadership at Xbox. But if you think about it, if Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda Studios, they would only have 2 games for the first 2.5 years of life of Xbox, right? 2 AAA exclusives, which would be Halo and Forza. Think no Redfall, no Starfield if they didn't buy it. Literally 2 games. And that's counting the 22 other, they would still have, let me think, 18 studios, something like that. So yeah, I think, thank goodness for Bethesda, and Bethesda has their own kind of leadership, because it doesn't seem like Microsoft's leadership is very good, to be quite honest with you. And, I think that that's sad. But yeah, I wanted to go over this because there are people talking about this. Microsoft's recent Xbox and Bethesda E3 Game Showcase was a packed show, but there were a few notable games and developers missing. Thankfully, some of the games and devs left out of the big E3 event got their time to shine as part of Xbox Game Showcase Extended, included Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Now, according to Ninja Theory creative director, the studio is currently working on a good chunky slice of Hellblade 2 before moving on to full production. They're still in pre-production now, scanning locations and drawing on satellite data from Iceland. They're also working closely with Epic Games to create the game's next-gen Unreal Engine 5 character models. Ninja Theory has also dropped a new Hellblade 2 teaser, which they stress isn't an actual trailer. It provides a hint at what they're working on, and you're going to be able to check it out below because I'm going to link this and you guys can check this out for yourselves and see what they're doing. So, again, This game was announced in 2019 with a trailer, and again, it's still in pre-production years later. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't understand. I do not understand. I fail to understand. I cannot understand. I refuse to understand. This is what he had to say. I want to give you an update on the work so far on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. What we're doing right now is building a good chunky slice of the game before we move on to full production, build out the rest. Hellblade was very special for us, and we didn't want to do a straight sequel. We wanted to do something extra special, so we're making our lives as difficult as possible in that pursuit. The game is set in 9th century Iceland, so we've been sending out our art studios team out there, doing photography, photogrammetry, and combining it with satellite data to recreate and create large swaths of a landscape. On the character front, we're making real costumes, scanning them in. We're collaborating with Epic Games to bring you next generation digital characters. On the combat front, we want it to be extra real and brutal, and so Melina, our main actress, has been training for 2 years, and all of our animators have undergone combat training. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 leads the charge on Xbox Series S and X. A window release has not been specified, but it does sound like we might be waiting a while according to WCCF Tech as well. So again, 2023, I mean, you're talking 5 years after the announcement. I just find this to be very interesting that this keeps on happening, despite the fact that Phil Spencer said it's not going to happen. Right? So the 2 games they announced in 2019 are very much looking like 2023, 2024 type games. In the case of, they only announced 2 games then, Hellblade 2 and Everwild. Everwild could be even 2025 for all we know. You know, that game, I don't know what the hell Rare's problem is, but I mean, they did basically 1 game, and that's basically it. And again, I'm not like some people are talking out about this, some people aren't. But the main thing that I kind of want to stress about this is that I just find it to be a little bit odd and ridiculous that people are so understanding about this, right? Like, we've had no games for such a long time, and people just seem to be okay and placated. Again, the funny part to me was, like, I read an article on IGN from from McCaffrey, right? And we know he's an Xbox guy. And it says, the drought is over, blah, blah, blah. The same thing he said last year after their E3 show. And they got no games since that point. So, like, again, it's one thing to announce games, completely different thing to actually release these games and have them be any good. So, I find that to be incredibly interesting that they're all like, oh man, look at this, we've got this game, this game, this game, and literally no release date, no release year. The stuff that they sold us on with Xbox are literally years and years away. So again, you know, we do have to kind of mention this and just go, oh, you know what? This is very, very interesting. This is a simple thing that realistically, how do they keep announcing this stuff and keep fooling us? Like, that's the part. Like, people want to get mad at PlayStation and deflect to PlayStation. Yep, Jim Ryan lied. He did, and I pointed that out and called that out. But okay, let's also point out that Phil Spencer lied. Said he didn't want to announce stuff that was 2 to 3 years away. Clearly did announce stuff that was 2 to 3 years away. And then expects us just to all be okay with this. Basically lied to us to get us to buy his consoles. And, you know, there's nothing really to show for it. That's really unfortunate in my opinion. And I hate, you know, it's frustrating. Very, very frustrating. You know, I think that, you know, it's just one of those things that it's hard to kind of get over, you know. But I guess we'll see exactly what's going on, and we'll see kind of how this kind of leads, and you know, and exactly how fans kind of react to this kind of stuff. You know, seeing some Xbox fans get a little bit frustrated, and then seeing some, of course, defending like they always do. Millionaires definitely need your defense. $1 trillion company surely needs your defense. And at the end of the day, I'm sure that you know, you're gonna, if you like Xbox, you're gonna continue to defend them, despite the fact that they've really given you nothing to defend. Nothing. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, I'll link this in the description. Let me know what you think. Were you upset that, we basically got lied to? You got a trailer for Everwild, faked trailer for Halo, fake trailer for Hellblade 2. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. Slap that like button, please. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.